Whovians, and welcome to Who Universe News here. And we've got some very, very big developments going on regarding this new spin-off that's this big spin-off that Russell T Davies is planning for Doctor Who right now. That's pretty much at this stage in pre-production, and it's becoming more and more apparent. Pre-production is happening for this project that he's been building, whilst trying to get the first series of Ncuti Gatwa out. He's been building this spin-off that has been, we've been hearing creeps about it as we've been building to Ncuti Gatwa's debut on telly as the 15th Doctor. And now that the series is done, it seems as though Russell is very determined to get the filming going for this spin-off that he's obviously been envisioning for some time. Yeah, it's basically the war between the land and the sea. That one, that spin-off is getting some very interesting developments that might very well be very possibly could be happening in the coming weeks, and we might get a confirmation from the BBC about it in a very good short few weeks. We might be finally knowing some details about it. Before we go into that, of course, we need to talk about the actual, the new figures that have come out for the Empire of Death, which is the final episode of the series, and those final figures have come out now, and the +17, the +4 screening figures is, of course, 3.69 million. So a lot more than the overnight figures. The TV only one hasn't come out just yet, but it's probably going to be roughly around the 3 million 50 or 60 mark anyway when it comes out. But I'll leave a link in the description so you'll get to see the numbers when they've been officially revealed, and then we'll know how the ratings have been doing across the series. Once those figures are out, that'll be it. That's all the figures in terms of viewership for Doctor Who until this year's Christmas special, which, by the way, we will discuss about some new details that Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies are teasing about this year's Christmas special, set to be called Joy to the World. So yeah, let's get on to the war between the land and the sea conversation, because first bit is probably the biggest development we've had about this whole spin-off, and that is essentially that Mirror were receiving some very interesting details in the last, where they're being told. Well, obviously, the thing we need to take note of is the fact that the war between the land and the sea is set to feature the Sea Devils, may possibly feature the Silurians, considering they're both cousins in the world of Doctor Who. So it would make sense that both of them are going to be in this because, well, technically they know each other. Sea Devils and Silurians known each other for a very, very long time. In terms of the story between those villains in Doctor Who, they know each other quite well. Well, it seems as though that a new sort of development has come out that seems to suggest, and in fact, this actually came from a member from Gareth Base who also commented about this. It seems as though it's possible that the series could be led by a returning face from RTD1, Farima Ajmer, aka Martha Jones. Yeah, you heard me right. There's the possibility that Russell could be bringing back Martha Jones with this spin-off, which is kind of funny, because I'm pretty sure before Ncuti Gatwa series came to be, there were talks about Martha Jones coming back for this past series, but because that didn't happen, you now have to wonder if she comes back here, does this open the door for next year's series and a potential return for Martha meet the Doctor again in season 2? Like, can you imagine? No, seriously, can you imagine Ncuti Gatwa and Farima Ajmer in the same as each other next year, or in season 3 when they start filming that? That is going to be a mind-boggling moment when that happens, because you have to wonder, how is Martha Jones going to react when she sees the Doctor is not exactly the David Tennant version she knows? This is a completely different face now. So I'll be very interested to see how Martha would react if she encounters the 15th Doctor. Will she react like, "Oh, I know you," or will she react very differently? Very interested to see how that plays off when we finally get to see these characters reunite. But along with that, as well as Martha Jones potentially leading the series, we could see Gemma Redgrave get involved. So Kate Stewart may be involved in this. Shirley Ann Bing, Madeline, who we saw in the 60th anniversary, she could be involved in this, along along with Bonnie Lamford, aka Mel Bush, as members of UNIT. So it seems as though that Russell is trying to get members of UNIT involved in this spin-off, which is very interesting. So there's a possibility that we might see possibly a battle between UNIT and the Sea Devils, which we saw tiny bits of that during the Sea Devil story, even though the army that faced them necessarily UNIT, it was basically just a different organization who was taking on the Sea Devils. So this could be our first proper battle between UNIT and the Sea Devils, which will be very interesting to see how that comes out. And then, of course, they go on to say that obviously we can expect the Sea Devils to appear. However, though, it will not be the main focus of the show. It will be set in the present day in a ruined English village. The series will be produced by Bad Wolf Productions. So it's interesting they say it's going to be set in a ruined English village, which I find very interesting. They're kind of, it sounds to me, this spin-off is going to be more countryside based. It's kind of how I'm taking this, is the fact that they're describing this English village that's going to involve the Sea Devils and UNIT, or Pacific members of UNIT are going to be involved in this, which may suggest that they're pushing for a more countryside sort of series, very similar to Beyond Paradise, if that makes sense, or maybe close to Broadchurch potentially. So maybe something along those lines we could be seeing with the spin-off. Maybe I'll be intrigued to see how that works actually, because usually UNIT are more like being in the city. They're more of a lug organization, right? So this would be very interesting to see UNIT copes in a countryside setting, considering they're more based in the London area, which is where we've seen UNIT for many years in Doctor Who, basically based in London. So it would make sense that this could be a whole different scenery for them. But then again, they could use the locations that we've seen in 73 Yards potentially, which there's a chance they could go back there for this spin-off, considering the Doctor did use that, was featured in that location for 73 Yards, talking about the war between the land and the sea. So they could use that same location as a way to sort of show us what happened after the Doctor left the location, which I'll be very intrigued to see how that works. We'll see what happens. Either way, the BBC have obviously, as you can expect it, they've declined to comment about this spin-off, so they're remaining very quiet about this, which is very, very telling. The fact that they're being super quiet about these plans, and yet they're already starting to leak, which is very interesting. Alongside this, what we also discovered in terms of the information that is starting to roll out is that we're starting to see its name get mentioned in a CV of a producer known as Caroline Parry-Jones. And on her CV, it seems as though that from what she has on her CV about this, apparently this show is going to be at least a five-part fantasy drama that each episode is going to be contested in an hour long. So essentially what they're hoping for is that they are hoping to do a 5-part series where they could do at least 60 minutes every episode in that series, which means that we're essentially getting longer episodes with it, sort of like, I wonder if this is their way of sort of testing the waters for like longer Doctor Who episodes going forward. So maybe a series where we have hour-long episodes potentially. Could this be their way of sort of teasing that format potentially coming to Doctor Who at some point? Maybe. It's just something that I thought was really interesting, that we could be looking at 1-hour episodes with a 5-part series for this whole spin-off that is going to be now fantasy drama that they're describing. As well as this, we also found out the airing for this series is also very telling, because originally I was looking at this and I was thinking, okay, could there be a possibility we could see this at the very start? There was a part of me that was hoping it was going to be sometime at the end of the year, but then again, because of the fact that they've delayed the film into September, now kind of makes more sense it would be in 2025. So I was thinking, okay, maybe we're going to see this potentially in the opening months of 2025, because then that way we have something to look forward to whilst we're waiting for season 2. Well, it turns out that's not not actually the plan here. Turns out they're actually wanting to get this out by mid to late 2025. So we're talking middle of the year to the end of the year next year is kind of what they're hoping to get this spin-off going. Hopefully to begin transmission of this around that time, which will be just after season two's broadcast to Who, pretty much. So hopefully not too long after season two's wrapped up, being shown on screen. That's when they're hoping to begin showing this spin-off, is what they're hoping to at least achieve in terms of airtime for this spin-off. I can see why they're saying that, because they basically, it seems as though they want this to come out after season two, which begs the question, does that confirm Martha's involvement in season two? Considering she's featured after season two, does that mean she's going to be involved in season two at some point during next series? Will we see Martha Jones? Maybe. I mean, considering the fact that they're featuring her in a spin-off, which is not due to until later in 2025, I think there's a strong chance we might see Martha in the next Freema Agyeman make a return to Doctor Who in season two. Even though they haven't said that this is happening, I feel like there's a strong chance of that happening now because of the spin-off now airing towards the 2025 and mid-2025 time frame. Now, also another thing to note is that they also said that this series will also air on BBC One and iPlayer in the UK, so it seems to be confirming that BBC One is going to be the home for this spin-off, which is very interesting. BBC One's going to definitely be the home for this, considering most spin-offs tend to happen across BBC Two, BBC Four, but it seems BBC One's very confident about showing this spin-off when it does arrive on the network, which is, at least that's a good thing, that BBC One is giving us more Doctor Who content by allowing them to show this new spin-off as a way, this new fantasy drama that Russell's planning to air following season two, to be sort of like a new spin-off series that he hopes to hopefully continue developing in years to come, which I hope so. I hope there'll be more to this. The series director is going to be the one who actually directed 73 Yards and Dotted Bubble, Dylan Holmes Williams, that director. He's going to be back to direct this whole spin-off, which is pretty nice to hear that he's going to be involved, considering he did an amazing job with those. He's actually done some pretty good directory this year, so it makes sense that he would be involved in the spin-off projects for Doctor Who going forward. So that's really nice. Yeah, apart from that, really, there isn't really that much, except for the fact that, it's going to be a 5-part series. Each episode is going to be an hour. They're hoping to air this by mid to late 2025, and that we might, obviously we're going to see Sea Devils, but there's also the possibility Martha Jones and members of UNIT, which are Kate Stewart, Shirley Embay, Mel Bush, and Freema Agyeman, be necessarily some of the characters involved in this spin-off, which may suggest that UNIT will have a heavy presence in this spin-off when it does start going out 2025. So either way, we should be getting some publicity confirmation from the BBC soon, considering they're probably going to taking photos of them filming very soon, because I mean, at this rate, if they're getting ready to do publicity photos, it sounds to me like they're very confident that they're going to get some information. They're going to start announcing details about their plans for this new spin-off that Russell wants to push out by 2025 next year. Will be so cool to see how this show's going to go. So fingers crossed, we're going to learn more about the spin-off in the coming weeks, which will be very, very exciting. But at least it's stuff to look forward to following season two, which is very, very exciting for the show. And alongside this, we did get some teasers from this year about this year's Christmas special, Joy to the World. Stephen Moffat has written Christmas 2024, and he's already teased that he has kind of talked about Nicola Coolidge, who's going to be one of the guest stars in the special, and he kind of goes on to say Nicole is wonderful in it. She will break your heart. So it definitely sounds like it's going to be very emotional story from what Stephen Moffat's describing. Even though he does go on to say that I'm not allowed to say anything about it, at least I think I'm not allowed to say anything about it, so I'll just shut up. All he's really saying is that Nicole's character is going to be doing a wonderful job, and it's going to break your heart what she does, which definitely sounds to me like possibly an emotional betrayal storyline could be coming. Maybe, considering mean, we have seen that already with Dr. Bubble, but maybe we'll see that for Christmas potentially. I don't know. Just something that occurred to my mind when I read this is that there might be some sort of a betrayal storyline that could be coming up for Christmas that would explain why they're saying she's going to break your heart. Is kind of sort of the sort of thing you would say if you're going to have a storyline where a character is about to betray someone. So maybe a betrayal, or maybe it's going to be a death potentially, but I feel like betrayal seems more likely considering it's Doctor Who seems to have a habit of introducing betrayal storylines. So I think Stephen Moffat would do a great job handling that. Now, of course, Russell T Davies also teased about the special where he says, I cannot give much more, but work has already begun on it. It's mad. It's one of the maddest Christmas specials you ever see. It's epic, and it goes to many different places, and it's a great story for who the Doctor is when he's alone. So, of course, that's another component of the Christmas special, the fact that the Doctor's by himself now because he left Ruby Sunday to discover her, to reconnect with her mom, obviously. So, yeah, you can obviously tell it's going to be a very important story for the Doctor, considering we're going to see how he deals with himself being alone and how that's going to affect him in this special. It's going to be very, very telling. These are just a couple of teasers that we've got regarding this year's Christmas special, which I'm sure we're going to learn more about in the months to come, which I think it's only apparent that we're only going to know little bits and bobs for now. I would imagine we'll learn a lot more by the time when we get closer to the broadcast. We'll start learning more about the Christmas special, Joy to the World. As well as this, we did find out that there is going to be a live play version, a one-off live recording of an Eighth Doctor Big Finish drama. Yes, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Big Finish audio drama licensing, they've actually decided that in the Big Finish Theatre, partnering up with BBC Studios, of course, they are going to be doing full cast live recording event in London on Saturday, the 14th of September of this story, Stuff of Legend by Robert Valentine, where Paul McGann is the Eighth Doctor. Of course, he's joined by a companion played by Indy Fisher, who plays a companion called Shirley Polar, and he's also going to be joined by Alex McQueen as the Master, Nicholas Briggs, who voices the Dalek. And yeah, you're going to see essentially a live play version of this audio drama, is what they're going to be doing to celebrate 25 years of Doctor Who audio dramas at Big Finish. So if you want to get tickets, the tickets are going to start rolling out from 10 a.m. tomorrow. You'll be able to get, which are going to cost £18 if you want to take advantage of it. So yeah, so if you want to see a live version of this production, then there'll be a link in the description for those of you who want to get your hands. Like I said, if you want to get your hands on this, on tickets to go and see the live recording of this Eighth Doctor story turned into a play for stage, which is really, really nice. It's the stage play that they're doing for Doctor Who, which is crazy they're doing that. As well as that, we did also get we got the 14th Doctor golden solid screwdriver. We're starting to roll out at Forbidden Planet, and as you can see, we got the packaging here of what this thing looks like if you decide to get your hands on it. It's a Forbidden Planet exclusive, by the way, so make sure to go and see them if you want to get your hands on this, because this is a more posh version of the 14th Doctor solid screwdriver that they have released to celebrate 60 years of Doctor Who, which is great. And yeah, you can get your hands on this for a great price of £30 if you want to get your hands on it. So definitely go and this up. I'm hoping I can pick mine up at some point so I can get a 14th Doctor screwdriver and hopefully a 15th Doctor screwdriver as well. And then on top of this, we also got another exciting development, and that is the fact that we now know about a new Doctor Who collection Blu-ray set, and it is the Season 25 Blu-ray set. Yes, BBC Studios have finally announced they're going to be releasing a 7th Doctor Season 25 Doctor Who the Collection set, which is going to contain the following stories: Remembrance of the Daleks, Happiness Patrol, Silver Nemesis, Greatest Show in the Galaxy. So all those stories are going to be contained. And then on top of that, they're also going to be introducing some special, they're going to release 4 special edition versions of those stories, which will have updated special effects, immersive surround sound, surprises. We're going to be very interested to see what that looks like and what surprises they're going to be. All episodes will be newly remastered with available sources, meaning that these classic Avengers have never looked or sound so good on home media, which is going to be very exciting. So yeah, you're going to get to see some better version of these classic tales from the Seventh Doctor's journey, which is going to be really, really great. As well as that, we also, as well as like an updated visuals, we're also going to be getting Behind the Sofa with Sylvester McCoy, Sophie Aldred, Bonnie Lamford, Nicholas Bryan, Wendy Padbury, Janet Fielding, Sarah Sutton, Shirley Hancock, Jessica Martin, Karen Greenhill and Mark Hardy are all going to be a part of the Behind the Sofa new episodes that they're releasing for this set. There's a 3 new episodes of In Conversation, Sophie Aldred, the former script editor Andrew Carmen, and the former director Chris Cloud, script editor and directors. And then we have Looking for Dursley, which is a documentary looking back at the life and the career of Dursley McLean, who played Mike, obviously being the young guy in the Remembrance of the Daleks story. And then they have a rare vintage documentary from 1988 called The Making of Doctor Who, which actually originally released on VHS. It's now going to finally get its first Blu-ray release to the public, which is going to be great. They're also going to be releasing the VHS version of Silver Nemesis with the original VHS extra footage, Silver Nemesis with special edition Omnius, which is a special cut-down version of the Silver Nemesis, which was a part of the traditional 1970s Christmas repeats, which is going to be cool. You have The Collectors 1980, where Emily Cook chats to Doctor Who collectors about their 1980s treasures for Doctor Who, which is really cool. They've also got the Doctor Who Escape Room, Team 7th Doctor, as they try to escape and take on the escape room, of course. When Sophie met Leslie, who Leslie obviously played, was a part of the Happiness Patrol story, and we get to see one of her co-stars for the Happiness Patrol, who also appeared in the 5th Doctor story Frontiers as well. So Sophie Aldred chats to her about her time in Doctor Who. Stephen Mansfield interview. So you'll get to see a chance for him to look back at his season 25 work, studio and location footage. So you're looking at you'll have a chance to see some rare footage and outtakes captured during the making of all 4 of those stories, rare archival material for the BBC Vaults, which is in there, exclusive convention footage, HD photo gallery, info text, PDF archives, and a lot more is getting added. And this is all going to be releasing on the 21st of October. So a lot of special features for this Sylvester McCoy release, which will be coming out just before Halloween this year, which is pretty crazy that we'll get to have our hands on this you'll be able to get your hands on this on the 21st of October. Pre-orders have finally gone out, so if you want to pre-order, be my guest. But this is what the set will look like for those who are planning to get their hands on this set this October, which definitely looks very impressive. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's going to look good. The amount of content we're going to be getting for, hopefully it's going to sell very well. I think it will, because it's got a lot of really cool things to it as well. So there you go. That is the new Doctor Who The Collection set that we're going to be getting at the end of the year for Doctor Who. And hopefully we're going to see some more classic Doctor Who animations by the end of the year as well. We'll have to wait and see, because the Celestial Toymaker's out, so I guess it's just a matter of finding out if there's going to be any more animations coming. Hopefully there will be, but missing episode animation reconstructions, hopefully there will be. But in the meantime, really, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll definitely keep out when there's more Doctor Who news to cover. So hope you enjoy the rest of your hopefully you enjoy your weekend, enjoy the rest of your week, and stay tuned for some more Doctor Who news and obviously some Who Universe specials that are to come. See you then.